Hi everybody, hope you had a wonderful Christmas and welcome to the next SciCraft episode. So I've also been taking a little bit break over the holidays and now I really need to get into Minecraft again because in 3 days there will be another 18-hour stream making a new perimeter. I've kind of been procrastinating a bit and now I still need to prepare everything, which usually took me about 30 hours. Alright, so don't have a lot of time, so that's why we have to do it quickly. So first we need to head over to the new perimeter site, check it out, see how high the terrain goes, etc. And then we also need to adjust all kinds of machines that didn't work the last time. We already used up most of the good witchhut locations, which are relatively close to spawn, and now we have to go out further and further. But we have our piston bolt network, and I just want to show you how far we actually have to go. So this was an over 7,500 block long piston bolt ride, and it took almost 7 minutes to get here. We're really far out now. There are actually double witchhuts which are a bit closer, but this was nicely lined up. So the perimeter we did last time is about 1,200 blocks away, so that's why we decided to connect the new location directly to that. Alright, so yeah, we finished this piston bolt about 2 weeks ago. The design was done by many. It was quite tedious to build, but it's really colorful. So I really like it. Alright, yeah, so now let's go to the overworld side. The terrain this time looks a bit better. So last time we had the issue that there was an ocean biome on one complete side of the perimeter and we couldn't use TNT trenches. It was faster to mine. But this time it looks like, yeah, that's too far away. We can run TNT tubers to make the trenches on all 4 sides again. Terrain is also a bit better in regards to higher elevations. So this time there's only a bit of extreme hills biome on this one side, but that's pretty much it. The rest is just flat. So I think we have some hills on one side here with the tiger biome. This is not a big deal, so we can build the world eater relatively low. Okay, I just need to figure out what's the highest block and where we need to start building the world eater this time. So we need to find out the center chunk of the perimeter. So I'm just gonna go to the corners of the witchhuts. And by the way, using carpet mod in order to outline the witchhut bounding boxes. And we have the bug again with the terrain generation that the bounding boxes don't overlap. So we have to adjust this later in MBT Explorer in order to make the witch farm work. Otherwise we would have a slow witch farm. And we have no trouble adjusting this because this is clearly a bug that kind of ruins the witch farms. Over there's the other one. Yeah, that one is fine. Alright, so I'm gonna figure out where to have the center chunk. So I marked out all 4 corners of the perimeter. You can only see that one. Perimeter is quite large again, 500 by 500. Anyway, so this is the highest block I could find. It's at Y110. Yep. Before we changed the world design, where you would remove 7 layers at a time above Y63, I would have said we would just mine this away and build the world eater a little bit lower, but it's kind of not really worth it anymore. So we can increase the height of the world eater by steps of 7. Last time I think it mined out Y93 first or 91, then moved down, going back and forth 7 layers. And I would say we just raise this up and then it takes 20 minutes longer to run the world. It's better than start mining blocks away, really. Last time we also had some issues, we couldn't finish the part below in time, so we even had to wait after that. But that's why I would say we just move everything up to Y110. No worries about that. And the next thing we need to work on are the trenches, because they blew up in the last stream. This was a new design, And first I actually need to figure out what went wrong. So this is the trencher design we used last time. It was the new 9 game tick flying machine one. I think I'm just gonna run it and hopefully we can see what went wrong last time. So it definitely launches correctly, but I'm not sure at which point this blew up. So I'm suspecting we have to wait until it goes all the way and returns again to see what went wrong. But yeah, last time after a while we just were missing TNT dupers. So there's some unreliability in there. We'll see. So here it comes. So far so good, I would say. Let's see. Okay, obviously it takes a while until the machine returns, but I don't see what's wrong with it. Definitely didn't blow up. Alright, then I've obviously also done some testing before. I actually used this machine in survival last time. I let it run back and forth like 5 times. I guess we'll just do that again. Hopefully we can see what's going wrong. So this is really odd. I've been running this machine back and forth almost 15 times and it still works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. TNT tubers are all fine, no exception. It's, by the way, also the exact same seed, location and everything. We built it up in survival in the last stream where it blew up. It, by the way, blew up with all machines we built. So I'm not sure anymore what is wrong. So my suspicion right now is that it maybe is some carpet rule related. Because last time we also had an issue with the piston ghost block fix of carpet mod with the world eater. Basically it broke the caterpillar engine. But I don't see why the piston ghost block fix would ruin the trencher. I mean, we've used the same trencher before. The only thing that changed was we used a different engine in the back. So at the moment I'm clueless what went wrong last time, but we still need to find a decision for next time. We could build a different TNT tuber instead, because this one actually has one little flaw. It can blow up snow layer related. Snow layers can form on top of TNT, then update the body TNT, which could cause the machine to break. But I'm not entirely sure if this is really an issue, because if this happens while the machine is running, then we would lose one TNT here, which is exposed to the sky. The other TNT is covered by the slime block, so it wouldn't, yeah, we don't have the issue there. So the worst thing that could happen is that we kind of lose the TNT, but then we kind of have the backup still. So I'm really not sure right now what to do. It's probably the best we use the same trencher again. Maybe we'll find out next time what went wrong, but I should maybe design a backup system in case something goes wrong. And now something finally went wrong. It was an issue with the lower trenchers apparently. They're actually super similar to the one we use at Y141st, but somehow, yeah, something went completely wrong, as you can see. There's only the engine left moving. So I guess I'll just try it out again and see what goes wrong there. So I found the cause of one of the problems. This observer here gets picked up by the slime block actually. So once the flying machine bumps into the line of terracotta, everything is basically getting pushed together and the observer would attach here to the slime block. Yeah. Simple mistake. I can probably fix it by just moving it here. In the slime block there. So we will do. And this should actually fix the issue. Alright, so I'm gonna run this again and see if still something else goes wrong. So this time the machine returned as intended. Sometimes I actually see some TNT that gets shot up. Mostly when it lands in the water, like here. Maybe a chain reaction like over there. Can shoot the TNT up and destroy the flying machine, but this is really unlikely, I guess, and it's probably not what happened. Anyway, I'm gonna keep... Oh! That happened. Okay. that's probably also an issue. She needs to be higher. Alright, good that I got it on camera, yeah. So this only happens when it's going back apparently. Now that I think about it, the TNT getting shut up usually is not a problem. That's exactly why we run the upper TNT duper first, so it removes all the blocks down to about Y55 or so the TNT doesn't just land at Y60 like it does here. So I think if we maybe lower this machine, I think 140 was it last time, to 130, which is also still an option with the terrain we have, then we shouldn't have those issues. Also usually we remove the water first and only start the second machine so water doesn't leak in anymore. So I'm quite sure we can keep using this design, but we should definitely keep an eye on that. We're also currently doing preparations in another area of the server. We expand the Schalke mob switch again. So what we already did is move the Schalkers from the old mob switch over. So we had this tower with 6 packs of 35 Schalkers in there. That all got moved over into the new tower with the single chamber system. But unfortunately we lost about, I think, 36 or 38 Schalkers while moving them over. It's just really hard to deal with Schalkers in stacked minecarts. The first batch drowned, so the first time I tried to bring them over, I did not anticipate that the minecarts would just, when they fall down, would drive off in all kinds of directions, and they drowned because they fell in the ocean. And then the second time, a similar mistake happened, and we lost another batch. But if you want to check it out, what went wrong, you can maybe check out my second YouTube channel, where we have the stream replays. Alright, so currently we're also moving the Schalkers we had in the Nether over, and Methods actually came up with a nice system for that. So we don't need to pick up the Schalkers manually anymore, we have this minecart system. So what happens in the overworld is that the Schalker ends up here in the portal but can't teleport because everything has a button attached to it, or it's like a slab where they can't attach. And at the same time we send the minecart through the portal. So there's a activator rail, I'll show you on the Nether side later, that causes the Schalke to also go to the other dimension, and then the minecart comes out here, drives up the rails, here goes down again, picks up the Schalke, which hangs around here but can't teleport, and then automatically brings them to the Schalke tower and sorts them back in. So I'll show you what we did in the Nether real quick. So this is the Nether system I built up. Here's again a minecart unstacker, and over there is the Nether portal. This, by the way, was the old movable mob switch we had in Minecraft 1.10. So in this chamber here we had 70 Schalkers stacked in minecarts, and we could move this flying machine around the Nether and bring it to different locations. So we basically used this before we had any knowledge about permaloaders. So we used this, for example, for the first Nether quarry. We had those Schalkers next to it, so we didn't need to deal with any Nether mobs spawning. Now, since we want to change the entity grabbing rule, as I mentioned in the last Zombie Pigman farm episode, we want to bring those Schalkers back to the old world because they would otherwise be killed by the minecarts. And that's why we have this minecart unstacker here. There are already Schalkers in there, and we send them over to the overworld. I'm just gonna quickly push the button here and send one over. Right now I don't have an invisibility potion, but if you step back maybe you won't see us anyway. Okay, just gonna send one over. There you go. And there you can see the activator rail, and the complete Schalke and minecart is sent to the overworld, and Schalke is immediately picked up by the same minecart again. Alright, that's pretty much it. Here is just a counter because we have 14 slots per layer in the Schalke mob switch, and we can quickly go back to the overworld and just check if it worked, because I also just expanded the mob switch yesterday. So let's quickly check out if this worked. We need one Schalke in the first chamber. Yep, alright, this worked fine. Alright, so yeah, I continue with that in the live stream. So we still need to bring over the other 70 shikers, which are still near the first quarry site, and then fill up the remaining chambers. I think we got about 100 shikers left in the nether. And this also has a good side effect that we have even more shikers in overworld now. I think currently we have about 500. I brought 35 over from the NES already, and we lost about 35, so we're back to normal. But if you bring over the rest, we have 600. At the last Primitor stream, we actually had 13 players on, and the mob cap was at some points 550. So we actually had mobs spawning last time, we didn't have enough shikers. So hopefully we don't run into this issue again, so we also wouldn't need the additional mob switch. Alright. Gonna continue with that project and live streams. Now let's head over back to creative. So we're at the stone generator again. We need to redo or improve this machine once more. I've already done it a few times, but there's always something we can improve. So this time I actually want to make it about 3 times faster than before. So we can do this by generating the stone on both sides. So currently we only generate it on one side and fly the stone all over to the other side and deposit the first batch there, fly back, second batch, and so on, and do this in total 24 times. So what we could do instead is generate the stone on both sides and basically have the flying machines kind of collide in the middle and deposit the stone there. So we have the first batch here in the middle, and then every flying machine only has to be launched 11 more times, so in total 12 times, in order to fill up one complete layer. So this would have the advantage that, yeah, we have machines on both sides working, so that already makes it twice as fast, and the flying machines only need to fly half the distance on average. So instead of having to fly 24 times and on average about 140 blocks, they only have to fly 12 times and on average about 70 blocks. So the flight time would be only a fourth. So this doesn't make the machine 4 times as fast, because we still have like a constant factor. For example, the stone generation is only twice as fast, and the flying machine here that pushes everything down is unchanged. So I'm hoping in total the machine would be about 3 times faster if we get the system to work. Obviously, one disadvantage would be that we need to build this complete system twice. So last time it took about 50 minutes to build this up. So we definitely lose some time there. But we were like 10 people working on the same machine here, and this was definitely not efficient. If we could split it up and 5 people work on one side and 5 people on the other side, I'm quite sure we won't need like twice the time. We should be a bit faster still. Alright, what we also need to do is manage the lag somehow. Because if we would have both machines pushing stone at the same time, then the server wouldn't be able to run at close to normal speed anymore. So what I'm actually planning to do, the first time we kind of have to launch the machine, so yeah, the stone gets reliably deposited in the middle, since the flying machines kind of need to collide and be stopped by the blocks in front of them. So there we can't do it differently. But then the second time we launch this machine, we should fly the stone over, and at the moment the flying machine is on the way back, we should launch the other machine, because this is the laggiest part when the stone is getting pushed over. So we basically always have a machine moving stone, and the other one is either on the way back or just in hold position while the stone is generated in front of the machine. So this will require some precise timings and logic. Not entirely sure yet how to do this. I think we'll just build up the stone generation on the other side and then we'll figure it out. What I'm also thinking about is maybe change the engines back to a 10 game tick engine. So this time we're using the faster 9 game tick engine, but I think it wouldn't be much of help because we definitely run into lag issues. If you maybe go back to the 10 game tick engine, which would have the advantage that it's flatter and doesn't require as much effort to build, you will probably be better off in the end. Alright, yeah, we should actually change the engines back first, and then I'm just gonna mirror it over. Alright, I copied over the stone generator to the other side and mirror it, but I didn't add the potential lag management yet, so I just wanna try it without it and see how much of a problem it actually is, and if it's really necessary, because dealing with the lag would also make the machine slower, so it might not even be worth it. So I'm on a test server right now, and yeah, so we can see the MSBT in the top, and we would hopefully generate stone on both sides. I hope the other side also works, so did I forget to place a block? Then we immediately need to load a backup. No, it seems fine. I mean, if you look at it, the MSBT is still 10, so that's amazing. We'll see how much it goes up when we launch the flying machines. And I hope I didn't make a mistake while cloning it over. Okay. Okay, last one. And now MSPT is still well below 50. So I don't think we need the lag optimizations. On paper, the server is actually worse than the survival server we run our main world in. So it should even be better. Okay, this will be an interesting part. Both machines are colliding. Hope this works. Yeah, so if this works like this would be amazing. 3 times fast. I think the last time the stone generator took us about 7 hours to run. If you could get down to 2 hours, it's almost too fast. Yeah, so let's hope it all works out now. And here we go. Machine is returning. All the stone is in place. Everything works fine. Alright, I would say I'll keep this running a bit, and then we'll see if it works completely. I mean, I can actually run this server for 2 hours, no problem, and fill it up completely with stone. That was really quick. It only took a little bit over 2 hours to completely generate the 10 layers of stone. So this will be a nice improvement for our speedrun this Saturday. By the way, I did not replace the 9 GameTick engine because I was short on time and kind of too lazy, but I think this time it pays off. It's still fine, so we don't need to use the more compact 10 GameTick engine. Alright, then we still need to fix one more thing. So we're at the World Eater now. It is a bit complicated to explain, but basically what we need to do for the last layer is to start the TNT duper at the same layer again, which is not possible with the logic we have, because you can only start the TNT duper when you push it down. That's why we need to start the TNT duper when it's docked at the return station manually. So what I did last time was making this flying machine, which was supposed to fly under the whole thing and trigger those sticky pistons. So then it would then extend, pull in this part, which then pushes this part. But unfortunately, it doesn't work in this direction, because the redstone blocker that I used in order to activate the sticky piston would then later be in this position. And since this slime block structure with the TNT duper is already push limit 12, this piston fails to push it forward. So we need to somehow find a solution. It probably will involve moving everything over to the other side. Yeah, I don't see another way to do this. So this might be a bit complicated now to explain what I need to fix here. So we're in a creative world at the World Eater. Yeah, you have to be familiar with this, I guess. Can't now spend 5 minutes to explain everything. But basically we have the return stations here, where the TNT duper is stopped, and then usually pushed down, and it launches in the other direction again. But what we had to do for the lowest layers is we had to pull up some blocks and run the TNT dupers the same height again, in order to move those blocks that get pulled up by this pulling flying machine here. So the normal machine doesn't allow that. You can only launch a TNT duper when you push down. So that's why we always had to add a machine on the side that kind of manually launches the TNT dupers just by flying by. And the idea was that, so that's what we did last time. We have this flying machine that comes in from the bottom. The redstone block passes, activates this sticky piston, which pulls the other part of the TNT duper, and then this pushes again, and then the dupers launch in the other direction. But what I overlooked was that we have the slime block here. So this would only work if you come from the opposite direction, because otherwise, if you come from this direction, the redstone block actually attaches to the slime block, and the actual TNT duping module is already push limit 12, so this piston failed to push. Now we need to find another way to do this. I was thinking we could maybe, instead of using a redstone block, use a piston and an observer that flies again under it and just quickly extends, activates this observer, and then this would also get pulled in. Don't see any issues with that. Yeah, let's do this instead. So I built it up another time, so I just want to try it out once. This, by the way, is a 9 game tick engine, so it's also slightly faster than the usual 10 game tick engine. Yeah, this works fine. Already adjusted the flying machine, so we can put it into our schematic. This, by the way, also cost us like 20 minutes last time. That mistake, because afterwards we had to fix everything manually and basically launch all of the, I think, over 100 TNT dupers manually. Yeah, okay, another problem solved. So hopefully this solved the last issue we had last time with the machines. There's still a lot to do with the preparation. Still need to move the World Eater 14 blocks higher, make new lightmatics, get material lists, put everything into the corresponding shulker boxes, bring it over to the building site, etc. There's enough to do for me today. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Meanwhile, by the way, we finished the shulker mob switch, so we got 600 shulkers at spawn now. All the shulkers from the Nether were brought over. Yeah, in case you want to watch the live stream on Saturday, we'll start at 12 PM German time. I'll put also a link to different time zones in the video description if you want to see when the stream starts for you. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching. See you next time on Saturday. Bye bye.